It's nice, huh? Tallinn, the medieval pearl of the north. But today, we won't be spending any time here. Instead, we are off to the coast to take a ferry to the island of Naissaar, or Terra Feminarum, as it was known in the Middle Ages. I can already reveal that today the island is not filled with women, as the name suggests. Island of women, the literal translation. Instead, it's completely filled with all kinds of derelict military installations, bunkers and such. So, onwards! Oh yeah, we are going on a bicycle. There is a reason for that. Because the island is fairly big. It's about 8 point something kilometers long and about 3.5 clicks wide at the widest point, which doesn't sound that much, but since all the roads, if you can call them roads, are just some sand paths, and since we have only about 6 hours on the island before the ferry goes back to Tallinn, if you would go on foot, we would be able to see maybe 1/6 of the island. So, hence the bicycle. Church over there used to be the tallest building in the world for some time. In the late Middle Ages. Higher than the pyramids in Egypt. This one. One tower of the famous city walls. Fat Margaret Gate. This monstrosity here, that's the Linnahall concert and event venue that was built for the 1980 Olympics, and it's famous for a fact that the movie Tenet, the Kiev Opera House scene, was shot in here. Ooh, lots of people.
tere!
Tervist! Nii, aitäh!
Meid on 13.
On to the boat.
Kummale poole?
Aitäh!
Ma nägin, et need tõstsid jah. Need on revanemad.
Lähme sisse, äkki mingi tagumise nurga sellest. Õnne ei lähe.
Ära komista.
Wow, really a lot of people today.
tundub, et meil on vaja mingit nädalat aega, et kõigiga saada nagu korraks said nagu.
Siis on see, jah.
Those trucks there, you can take those and get along the island. They take you to the north and, well, basically to things that are worth seeing. But the problem is, if you go with those, then everywhere you go, there will be a huge number of people. So that's why I think it's a lot better to come here with your own bicycle. At least you can explore the island on your own. So, close up the shoes. And let's orient a little. Now, the island is mostly covered by coniferous forest, but there is a very, like a strange part of it. A small part somewhere in the middle, where you suddenly have completely different trees, like oaks and stuff like that. And that part is called the garden of the Danish king. Apparently in the beginning of the 13th century, when a huge fleet from Denmark, was it like Valdemar II, the king back then, arrived here as part of the Northern Crusades, and they managed to conquer northern Estonia. But before they landed at what today is Tallinn, back then there was an Estonian fortress called Lindanise. Before they proceeded to Tallinn, down there somewhere, the fleet basically came ashore here, and like they rested here for, well, we actually don't know how long, couple of days maybe. And whether those trees were planted as something in connection with that or not, nobody exactly knows. It was such a long time ago. There is also a legend that later one daughter of the King of Denmark was kind of like not exactly living the kind of lifestyle that was approved by the king. So she was banished here. But of course with the whole retinue and everything she needed for a comfortable life, and that she planted this Danish king's garden, hence the totally different flora at that location. Not bad, for a private beach. Let's have a look. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, in the summer, why go to Spain? Why go to Crete or Italy? You can come here, have a beach completely for yourself. And the weather is nice and warm. Plus, of course, a huge plus of the northern summer. The sun doesn't set until very late. You have a very long day. And if you have a full sun, the northern summer is very nice. Where did we come down? I guess here. Oh yeah, of course, footsteps. Whoppa. Not bad, huh? Now here is an interesting piece of history that, well, most people, let's say, are not aware of. In the 1850s, there was the Russo-Turkish War between the Russians and the Ottoman Empire. And of course, the majority of this war took place in the Mediterranean, Black Sea. But at some point, the British and the French joined the war on the Turkish side, and a combined fleet of British and French ships came into the Baltic Sea, and they blockaded the whole Russian Baltic fleet. So basically they were stuck in their harbor in Kronstadt, St. Petersburg, for the duration of the war. And the French and the British, they occupied this island. Of course, back then, Russia had conquered Estonia like in 1721 against, when they won the war against the Swedish. Before that, Estonia was a Swedish territory for a long time. And in the 1850s, when the French and the British occupied this island, some of them died. They didn't die in battle. They died mostly of cholera. And at this particular point here, this place, about 30 Frenchmen who died in 1854, 1855 are buried. Now, on the island there is a cemetery, but because it's a Protestant cemetery and the French being Catholic, they couldn't be buried there. So the French are just buried here on the beach. We don't know whether they're buried right on this spot or closer to the sea or well, somewhere in this area. But the British, about 49 of them, are buried on the Protestant cemetery. We will go there in a short while. So that's the, let's say, somewhat unknown piece of history. Oh, someone left a nail here. That's nice. A proper old school blacksmith made nail. Oh, you can even feed yourself should you be stuck on this island with some berries. Now, where is my bicycle? All right, we arrived in some kind of civilization. It's like there is, let's say, kind of a village, which is, well, it used to be during the Soviet occupation time, was all military. The whole island was off limits to regular citizens. Oh, same as pretty much most of the north coast of Estonia, the big islands on the west of Estonia. The difference being, of course, that here on Naissaar, the total population was about 450 people when Estonia was independent in the 1930s. Like 230 something of them were Estonians, the rest was Swedish. The Swedes had immigrated here already hundreds of years earlier. And in 1944, when the Russians were again advancing on Estonia, the whole population fled, like to the last man, fled to Sweden. And of course, during the Soviet occupation time, no civilians were allowed. It was completely militarized. Somewhere on the north of the island there was a rocket base or a missile base, and this small gauge railway, which was actually installed already during the First World War, that was again taken into use so that the new sea mine factory that they established in the middle of the island, very secret, that the sea mines made there, like put together there, could be transported by rail to the harbor and then taken to wherever they were needed. And yeah, like in difference then to the other islands, like the big ones, in the west or the west coast of Estonia, over there the local population was allowed to stay. Only they had special permission, like the rest of Estonians, so there are other inhabitants of Soviet-occupied Estonia. They couldn't go there unless you had their relatives, like I did. I remember when I was a kid, my father's family was from Saaremaa, the biggest island that we have here. And we had to renew this permit to visit our relatives every year. And I guess if one of us would have been like somewhat an undesirable person in the eyes of the Soviet authorities, then the permit would have been denied. But yeah, the other people who didn't have family there, they couldn't visit those islands. The whole islands was border zone. That's how afraid the Soviets were that their own population would escape. Oh yeah, and then well, right here was of course a village also earlier where the Estonians and the Swedes lived. But during the Soviet occupation time, after the Second World War, the Finns were forced to pay the Finns were forced to pay war damages. You know, although they kind of won against the Russians, you know, in the sense that they kept their independence, unlike Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, they were still forced to pay war compensation. And all these little houses here were actually provided by Finns. There was some kind of half-fabricated blockhouses, and then the Soviet soldiers, officers, they lived in here. And yeah, now some of them look rather lovely. Some old Soviet trucks. And of course we even have a bar, which we might visit later. Ooh. Oh, it looks like the train has been reactivated. I remember for some years it didn't run. Apparently, well, it's a story that the last train driver that they had here in like 2010-12 was such a drunk that his right to drive the train was revoked. But yeah, apparently the train is back. Well, the weird thing is it goes from the harbor at 11:15, which is quite weird because the ferry comes in at 12. So yeah, who can get on the train? People who stay there the night. Oh no, looks like a company, some company event. Let's get away quickly. Here you have the sea mines that were produced here during the Soviet era. One of the old barracks. Let's see what we have here. Oh, it's a chance to fall through the floor, which is always nice. Old TV. Soviet TV. But yeah, the barracks, I don't know when these were built, because there was an Estonian during the independent Estonia era in the 1920s, 1930s. There was also a military, some kind of unit was here. There was some like coastal defense positions, bunkers built during that era. Some big guns. Projector. There was somewhere a projector of 2.5 or 2.1 meter diameter, defending the harbor entrance to Tallinn. But yeah, this one is pretty far gone. So whether this one was built during the Soviet times, I don't think so. It looks too nice. It was probably built in the Estonian times, or maybe even earlier, like First World War. When Estonia became independent in 1991, the Russian troops left in, I think, in 93. Well, just heard that one of these buildings was for sale, so you could have your ex-barrack summer house here. Couple more of those mines, some kind of I guess it was some self-moving carriage, some little wheels underneath. And the crane. Oh, that truck has already arrived here during the independent Estonia era. A Mercedes fire and rescue truck. Also some rescue vehicle. Naissaar, Terra Feminarum. Oh yeah, why is it called the island of the women? Adam of Bremen, a chronicle, who wrote in around 1075, or let's say late Viking era, well, he got the information from some Norwegians, I believe, or Swedes, who came here around that time. And when they landed on this island, apparently there were only women. But it was probably a misunderstanding because of the language barrier. The women were probably explaining to them that all the men were at sea, but they didn't see any men, so the island was christened as Terra Feminarum, the island of women. Well, back then in general there was some kind of hype about Amazons, you know, the land of the Amazons, somewhere towards the east. So probably had to do with that. Hi. You see, when you come here, you won't be the first foreign tourist. Because this guy was obviously from Spain or Italy or somewhere, you know, southern Europe. And yeah, there are a couple of people who actually live here. Like the permanent population is apparently 3 or 4 people. And then during the summertime, there's like additional 30 or so. This looks like a nice summer house. But somewhere on the north of the island there is someone who actually raises sheep. Lambs. Here we have the church. Let's see what they say. All right, here they say that Naissaar was permanently inhabited since the 15th century. Although I've read that already in the 12th, 13th, earlier times, like 13th, 14th century, there are written in the records in Tallinn that on the island you had horse breeders and woodcutters, and occasionally pirates were here. Were preying on the ships of the Hanseatic League. In the 19th century, the island had 3 villages: Ståby, Lillingen, and Backby. You had a community of 2 languages, and back then, about 200 people. About 2/3 of them spoke Swedish and the rest Estonian. And then later in the 1930s there were about 450 people. I remember that the official, according to the official numbers, 231 of them were Estonians and the rest were Swedish. But the tragic history of this island, the permanent residents were removed on quite a few occasions. In 1914 they were all removed by the Russians. In 1918 they were allowed to come back by the independent Estonia. And then, as I already mentioned earlier, in 1944, when the Red Army was advancing on Estonia, then the whole population of the island fled to Sweden. The Swedes and Estonians alike. Yeah, and then the new civil population, the current one, they returned then in the early 90s, like 1993. Oh, look at that, there is a key. Does that mean that we can get in? No, it doesn't. Oh, it does. Oh. just for sure, let's record double. Okay, you can leave a donation. Oh, it looks very nice. A typical Nordic church. It's lovely. Maybe better to film with a better camera. Nice little ship. Santa Maria. Estonian flag. The sign for Jesus. Oh, look at that, Swedish. The Crown Princess Victoria and Prince Daniels. They visited Nargö Santa Maria Chapel. Nargö is Naissaar in Swedish. 19th of August 2018. Santa Maria Chapel. That would be the tree of life, I guess. Yggdrasil. Pagan influence on Christianity. And here, Holy Mary Chapel, consecrated 19th of August 2018 by Bishop Urmas Viilma, who will be a bishop of the Lutheran Church of Estonia. So up there, some cool flags. That's nice. Close it up. Let's close the door, otherwise the flies will come in. All the churches named after Mary in Estonia. Oh yeah, of course, in ancient times Estonia was called the land of Holy Mary. Well, I guess the name was invented to justify the Crusades. So Maarjamaa is still in use in Estonia, next to Eestimaa, which is Estonia in Estonian. That's a pretty cool flag. Play the organ. To the tower. So we have visitors? No. They're leaving. So, where is the donation box? This one. Oh, we have some coins. I mean, the visit was definitely worth some coins. And this is the official cemetery. The Protestant cemetery. So somewhere here should be the graves of 49 British sailors and soldiers who were part of the British Expeditionary Force under Admiral Charles Napier on the flagship HMS Duke of Wellington. I thought there was a... Oh, there it is. There is the gravestone. So here it is, appropriately with an anchor. This memorial was erected by the British Admiralty in memory of Commander Anderson, HMS Cressy, Lieutenant Bond. Lieutenant Bond! That's where he's buried. Nobody knew what happened to Mr. Bond. Well, he's right here. HMS Royal George, Mr. Stephens Boatswain, HMS Caesar, F. Toomey and T. Longbottom, HMS Monarch, J. Barker, HMS Arrogant, J. James and C. Harris, HMS Cornwallis, G. Harris, HMS Hope, W. Boyle, HMS Ajax, who died in the years 1854 and 1855 and are buried in this cemetery. Yeah, apparently none of them perished in battle, although there were actually skirmishes. There were bombardments, there were cannon battles between ships, although not much. There was, I think, one Russian ship tried to make a run, and the British engaged it and drove it back. And close to Riga there were some skirmishes between some gunboats and British and French vessels. So yeah, these guys perished from diseases. Well, an interesting tidbit of history is that the Brits and the French, they had an expeditionary force of about, what was it, like 22,000 troops, and they were seriously considering an invasion. Like they were considering putting troops on shore and take Tallinn, but some experts that they had with them completely overestimated Tallinn defenses, because in reality the Russian rulers at the time, they completely panicked. Like they burned down a borough of Kalamaja, which was like between the sea and the main town, as they thought that it would provide too much shelter for the invading troops. So they burned down the whole borough, about 400 houses, and then they evacuated everything of value, like all the governmental archives, all the institutions, everything was packed up and taken inland for I don't remember exactly, like somewhere to buy like central Estonia basically, or even further. So if the Brits and the French would have actually mounted an invasion, then the Estonian history might have been quite a bit different, let's say, to put it that way. William Karm, 1885, 1993, 1934, 1993. That would be a long life. So yeah, British soldiers and sailors who perished far from home. Some sweets. Yeah, it says here all the Swedish families, and then it says from 1700s until 1944, when they were forced to escape to Sweden to avoid the Ruskis. In memory of the ancient families of Naissaar. Jehova, ma ootan sinu õnnistust. Jehovah, I am awaiting your blessing. That one was in Estonian. Geboren, gestorben. German? I don't know, maybe Geb and Gest are also same in Swedish. Yeah, not a bad place for the final resting place. Could be a lot worse. Oh, here is some metal. Made of metal. Looks like quite recent, although the people died a long time ago. 1913, 1927. Yeah. And a little toy duck for some reason. Oh, cute. Okay, let's find some sea mine factories and bunkers. Such peace, eh? We are only what, 16, 17 kilometers from Tallinn, the hustle and bustle of a city, and here basically nobody. Was spoken too soon. Looks like the tourists are here. Yes, they are. We are now on the territory of this Soviet sea mine factory, the barbed wire. There was one building. There are many more. This is of course a bit annoying that the tourists are right here at this very moment. The train tracks. That way and that way. So what do they say here? The sea mine magazines. Territory about 20 hectares. Many layers of barbed wire around it. Created by the Soviet army in the 1950s to assemble and store sea mines. There were 14 roofed platforms and 12 open platforms. The railroad was reconstructed. Yeah. When they pulled out, apparently they burned the explosives on the stuff that's inside the mines, and the empty shells they left behind. So a lot of them are lying around here and there. But that little building over there, I've been inside. There is nothing in there. So let's see, we have to find proper, bigger structures. Okay, here are some. I'm a train. I arrive by the train. What's that? Let's see. Yeah, an empty storage area with a failing roof. Yeah. The other one looks even more rotten. Ugh. Spider webs. Oh, looks like some cleanup. Asbestos. Ugh. Better not to, raise a lot of dust. Yeah, not particularly spectacular. All right, onwards we go. Some over-enthusiastic child is screaming in the forest. That happens when you have too much Haribo. all have chocolate. But the railroad looks kind of nice. More asbestos. Somebody had a couple of beers. So, more of the same. Another storage area. Roof is about to collapse. Somebody dug a big hole. Okay, there's another one over there. And an even bigger hole. No idea why. All right, let's check the next one then. Yeah, it looks like more of the same. Yeah, guess there's no point going in there. Some open platform. Massive trunk over the rails. Yeah, I guess there is no point going further that way. Oh, there should be a couple of those platforms, like 3 of them. Let's see. Oh yeah, here they are. Yeah. Same as the others. Darkness inside. The moss looks rather nice. Oh, it's wet. Yeah. Same. And the railroad disappears into the distance. Yeah. Should take some photos. Low angle, but the camera is not wide enough. That'll do. almost half of our time on this island is already over. We only have 6 hours before the ferry goes back, and in like 17 minutes half of the time is behind us. Would be interesting if we suddenly get lost. Our bicycle is no longer there. The railroad just keeps going and going. It gets dark. Strange sounds are starting to come from the forest. Like a real, what do you call it? Stalker territory. But here it is. Back to the civilization. Well, not really civilization, just back to where we came from. Oh my god, some Instagram action. Oh yes. Right at mine. Well, since she was so friendly with the mine, I guess we have to investigate it as well. So here it is, the famous Soviet sea mine. They probably use exactly the same design to this very day in the Black Sea, for example, in their war against Ukraine. Looks like someone put a lot of beer cans in there. Yeah. That's how it looks like. So let's see what's inside there. This one was probably like the assembly plant. Some ventilation pipes, I guess. What's that? No idea. remnants of machinery. Oh, interesting. At the end of the pipe is some kind of cage. There is a pass tube, probably was full of chemicals. That's some heavy chain. Yeah. A hole goes very deep. Some Soviet work desk with a mysterious round hole in the middle. And a room with a view. What else do you want? More heavy chains. You can bring your girlfriend here for some SM action. Yeah. Okay. Another one. Oh, it looks like some, what is this? Some well organized storage, all numbered. Somebody has left a can of meat, empty one. But yeah, who knows what did they have here? Small parts for the mines. Check the amount of cranberries. Plenty of them. Where are we now? I think we're here. Yeah. So this was the officers' casino during the time of independent Estonia in the 1920s, 1930s. And of course Soviet times. The Red Army took it over. I doubt they had anything like a casino, just a officers' headquarters, something like that. But yeah, this one is in a very sorry state, although, as the sign said, it's been bought by someone. So who knows? Maybe it will be restored. But yeah, since it's a private property, we're not going to trespass. But as you can see, it's in a very, very sorry state. So yeah. The former officers' casino. Someone's summer house. What's this? Some blown up bunker. Massive slabs of concrete. think I've been here a few years ago. Was where I surprised a fox. It's massive. Whoa. Yeah, massive ruins, completely ruined. Yeah, it's in such a shape that you get absolutely no idea what it used to be. Something sticking out from the ground. Some weird depression in the ground. More metal. Ooh, nice hole. Yeah, ruins. Massive ruins. Opa. Yeah, cool, but not as cool as some of the others, which are a lot more complete. This is just like an interesting artifact. More metal. The fortifications here, apparently there was a Swedish fort already in like 17th century, and then when the Swedes lost the war against a coalition of Russia, well, back then it was called Muscovia. It was only after this war that they, or pretty much after this war, that they started this their new version of history, that they are Russia, like the rightful heirs of the Kievan Rus. Of course, in reality, they are the rightful heirs of Mongol horde. You know, the Moscovia was a vassal state of Mongol horde, and the history of Kiev and that area, well, they have nothing to do with it. Anyway, I digress. The Swedes lost the war against coalition of Russia, Poland, Denmark and Saxony. Although the war went in Swedish favor for a very long time. The young king Karl XII only was a bit of a psychopath, and he wanted to destroy his enemies completely. And he was offered, many times he was offered peace treaties, very, very favorable conditions for Sweden, but he declined all of them. And of course he was, he took his armies deep into Russia, all the way to Ukraine, he took them to Poland. He had a string of victories, but in the end, of course, his armies were depleted, and the war ended with a conditional armistice, not unconditional. Like, for example, Estonia, Latvia, it went under Russian Tsar control, but locally the rule stayed in the hands of the local Baltic barons, the nobility, the same nobility. They just swore allegiance or bent the knee for the Tsar. And only at the very late, towards the very end of the Tsar era, like at the end of 19th century, some programs of Russification started. But before that, it was fairly autonomous here. But anyway, so apparently immediately after 1725, when Russians gained control over this, over Estonia, Latvia, etc., they already had plans for fortifications, but nothing came of it. And the first real serious fortifications, like these huge concrete bunkers with huge, like 6-inch guns and whatever, they started to build them in 1914. But most of them were never really finished. And in 1918, Estonia, of course, became independent. There was a war for independence, which Estonia won against the Ruskies. And then Estonia built some bunkers. And talking of those bunkers, right here, these are the one built by independent Estonia in the 1920s. They were upgraded in the 1930s. There were some 150mm guns here, also some older 6-pounders. And somewhere here was a searchlight, 2.1 meter diameter. And yeah, of course, when Estonia was occupied by the Soviets, they took these same bunkers over. So in 1950s, these bunkers were somewhat modified by the Ruskies. So let's see what's in here. Where is my other camera? We need a light as well. So yeah, this was the Estonian bunker number 5. The light. So, light, camera, action. It's nice and cool in here. Furnace. Naissaar. More furnaces. Hot water. Nice tiles. All these radiators could be Soviet additions. This is a sauna. Yeah, this is definitely a sauna. People sitting up there. Or maybe not, but definitely looks like a sauna. Tiled floor. Yeah. Dead ends. A glass jar. What's that? Who knows? Oh, it's air is steaming. Let's see what language are the meters. These are Soviet machinery. Something in Cyrillic. Maslo. I think that's mean oil, voda, water. Сделано в СССР. Made in USSR. Russian stuff, huh? Yeah, in the 1950s, the Ruskies took it over, and then who knows for how long they used them. Most likely until they left in the early 90s. There is another one there. Yeah, this is the entrance to the cupola. Oh, the cupola inside is wood lined for extra coziness. The view slits can be closed. Also like a metal hatch. I don't know why you can close it for the last stand. Oh. Looks like these walls have disintegrated to a fairly large degree. But it is nice and cool. And the roof is still good. The ceiling. Hey, toilet bowl. I guess used to be. Oh yeah, another interesting bit of history that towards the end of the First World War, I think it was like December 1917, in Russia they already had this first revolution. Some Russian cruiser, Petropavlovsk, if I remember correctly, the crew, the regular sailors, rebelled, came here to Naissaar, like 70 of them, 70 or 90 or something like that. And then they set up their own anarcho-syndicalist republic under the leadership of some Ukrainian guy. Of course, it didn't last very long, lasted for 2 months. Then the Germans came and basically well, I guess they escaped. They weren't wiped out, because this Ukrainian dude was later some kind of anti-Bolshevik somebody, and in the end managed to escape to Finland. But yeah, there was an anarcho-syndicalist republic, and their national anthem was the International. Of course, nobody recognized this republic. Just some short-time dream. I guess, you know, back at that time, those kinds of ideas were fairly popular. Okay, close by there should be more of these Estonian bunkers from the 1920s, 1930s. Let's find them. First I have to find my bicycle, of course. I guess it was somewhere there. Oh, nice mushroom. Yeah, these forests are full of mushrooms, full of cranberries, full of blueberries. I guess some people come here especially for that, to pick berries or mushrooms. There is my bicycle. Wow. What is this? Another bunker. I guess you could get in there. Oh, it's full of water. Yeah, probably not a good idea to go in there. Which would pretty much mean that you would stay there forever. Looks rather idyllic. Lots of spiders. We did a circle. Back to the stepping stones. Looks like going to the cupola again.
Yes.
Some insect army is now in here. These two are chilling together. Oh, too low. Ah. I guess here in the middle of the circle was either a gun or a searchlight. It's better to go back. Yeah, cool. places. Oh. The cupola. So yeah, they were controlling the entrance to the harbor with their 150 millimeter and what were the other ones, 6-inch guns. Now this one was built in the like 1914, 15, 16, something like that, for the First World War. But it was never used in anger. All blown up. First World War. I doubt this was made in 1961, this graffiti. But who knows? Maybe some Soviet soldiers stationed here. Wow. Cupola. Now over here was the largest gun that they installed. Apparently there were plans for more, but only one was installed beginning of the First World War. Had a 14-meter barrel. Don't remember the caliber, but one shell was half a ton, and here it was. But apparently it was fired only once. They made one test shot and that was it. Was never ever used in anger. Let's go inside. Oh, some information in English. Without the light, really. Can't see anything. Anything at all. Yeah, if the light would fail, well, I have a cell phone, but otherwise, if the light would fail, to get out from here would be quite an ordeal. Water. Wow, that really disappears into the darkness somewhere far away. stairs. What could be better than stairs in darkness? Luku. Possibility to fall into a hole. Into the cupola.
Hoopis niimoodi on seda õuna.